Have you ever felt your mood ruined by someone else's careless words or actions? Imagine a minor event, someone cutting you off in traffic, a rude comment from a coworker, or a friend's flippant remark, suddenly throwing your entire day off balance. These situations are more common than we think. Often, without realizing it, we hand over control of our emotions and peace of mind to others, gradually losing the deep power within us. Imagine for a moment that, instead of reacting to these disruptions, you could remain calm and unbothered. No matter what happens around you, imagine starting every day feeling centered and peaceful, no matter the ups and downs that come your way. This is the kind of freedom that Buddhist teachings encourage us to seek, a strength that no one can take away, rooted in self-mastery and inner peace. Welcome to this journey of discovering your own power, where true peace and unshakable strength begin from within. In Buddhism, the journey toward lasting peace begins with a deep sense of self-control and mindfulness. True freedom, according to these teachings, doesn't come from controlling others or external circumstances. It's about mastering one's own mind and reactions. By shifting our focus inward rather than responding impulsively to the external world, we can cultivate an inner strength that remains steady even amidst chaos. So, where does this inner power originate? It begins with a clear understanding of who we are, our emotions, desires, strengths, and vulnerabilities. Many people go through life without truly knowing themselves, relying on external factors to shape their self-worth. For instance, think of how many times we feel validated or devalued by the approval or criticism of others. This dependency on external validation causes our emotional states to fluctuate constantly. However, through Buddhist teachings, we are encouraged to find validation and peace within ourselves. Imagine sitting quietly, observing your thoughts and emotions as if you were watching clouds drifting across the sky. Just as the clouds come and go, our thoughts and emotions are also transient. They are not fixed parts of who we are. By adopting this perspective, we begin to view ourselves not as a fixed identity but as a fluid, ever-evolving being. This approach frees us from rigid expectations and judgments that often lead to unnecessary suffering. Embracing the idea that self is not static but dynamic allows us to become more resilient to life's changes and challenges. Let's take, for example, a river flowing through a landscape. Over time, the river shapes the land around it, but it remains a river nonetheless, always moving and adapting to its surroundings. Similarly, we can learn to be adaptable, embracing change without feeling trapped by our past or by others' expectations of us. This journey to self-awareness and acceptance is a cornerstone of inner strength. Once you understand that your self-worth isn't defined by external circumstances, you gain the power to live authentically, focusing on what truly matters to you. Another critical aspect of Buddhist philosophy is the concept of non-attachment. Buddhism teaches that attachment, whether to people, objects, or ideas, is a major cause of suffering. Often, we believe that certain things or relationships will make us happy, leading us to cling tightly to them. However, the reality is that this attachment can actually drain us of our power, leaving us vulnerable to disappointment. For example, imagine that you have a cherished item, perhaps a piece of jewelry with sentimental value or a beloved book. Every time you use or see it, you feel a sense of joy and comfort. But one day, this item is lost or damaged, and you feel an intense sense of loss. Your happiness was tied to that object, and when it was gone, a part of your joy was also lost with it. In this case, the attachment to the object, rather than the object itself, is the root of your pain. In Buddhist thought, letting go doesn't mean that you stop caring about things or people. Rather, it means that you appreciate them without becoming overly dependent on them. By recognizing the impermanence of all things, we can enjoy life more fully, free from the fear of loss. Life is constantly flowing and changing. Like a river, And when we embrace this impermanence, we free ourselves from suffering. This doesn't mean that detachment is easy. Often, our attachments are deeply rooted in our personal identities and relationships. For instance, consider a romantic relationship where you feel an intense attachment to your partner. While love is a beautiful and powerful emotion, excessive attachment can lead to dependence. You might start to feel that your happiness is contingent on this person's presence or approval. But what happens if the relationship changes or ends? Suddenly, your sense of self-worth and happiness might feel threatened. Instead, practicing mindful love, or non-attached love, allows you to care deeply for someone while also maintaining your own sense of identity and purpose. In this way, relationships become sources of mutual support rather than emotional crutches. One of the most transformative tools in Buddhist practice is mindfulness, the art of being fully present in the moment. When we are mindful, we observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, giving us the ability to choose our responses rather than reacting impulsively. This practice helps us regain control over our emotions and decisions, preventing us from giving away our power to external circumstances. Think of a time when you felt angry, perhaps because of a negative comment from a friend or a minor setback at work. In that moment, your instinct might have been to react defensively or lash out. However, by practicing mindfulness, you could take a moment to pause, breathe, and observe your anger without letting it control you. You might acknowledge, "I feel angry right now," and then choose a response that aligns with your values rather than reacting impulsively. To practice mindfulness, start by setting aside a few minutes each day to sit quietly and focus on your breath. As you breathe in and out, notice any thoughts or emotions that arise without attaching yourself to them. Over time, this simple practice will help you create a sense of inner calm and resilience that remains steady even in challenging situations. For instance, let's say you're in a stressful meeting at work, and a colleague criticizes one of your ideas. Instead of immediately reacting defensively, you could take a moment to pause, acknowledge your feelings, and then respond thoughtfully. This mindful pause allows you to remain centered, responding with clarity rather than anger or frustration. In our lives, it's natural to care deeply about others, whether it's friends, family members, or even strangers. However, sometimes our concern for others can become overwhelming, causing us to lose sight of our own needs and well-being. Practicing unconditional compassion means that you can care for others without sacrificing your own inner peace. Imagine you have a friend who's going through a difficult time. You want to support them, but every time you talk, they seem trapped in their problems, unable to move forward. You listen, offer advice, and try to help, but they don't seem to change, leaving you feeling drained and frustrated. In this case, it's easy to give away your emotional energy, becoming overly attached to the outcome of their situation. Buddhist teachings encourage us to care for others with compassion while also protecting our own energy. This approach is often referred to as compassionate detachment. By setting healthy boundaries, we can offer support without getting entangled in others' struggles. This doesn't mean that we care any less. It simply means that we recognize the importance of maintaining our own well-being. Think of compassion as holding a beautiful flower. You can appreciate its beauty, even care for it, without letting it consume your thoughts or energy. Similarly, when we practice compassionate detachment, we can be a source of support without becoming overwhelmed by others' problems. To cultivate this mindset, start by setting boundaries. For example, if a friend frequently seeks your advice but never acts on it, consider stepping back and allowing them the space to find their own path. You can still offer your support from a distance, cheering them on while maintaining your inner peace. In Buddhist philosophy, The concept of karma teaches us that every action we take creates ripples that affect both ourselves and those around us. Karma isn't just about good or bad actions. It's about recognizing that everything we do has consequences. Taking responsibility for our reactions is a powerful way to reclaim our inner strength, allowing us to shape our experiences rather than being shaped by them. Imagine a simple scenario. You're at a coffee shop, and the barista makes a mistake with your order. You could choose to react with anger, letting your frustration spill over, or you could pause, take a deep breath, and calmly address the mistake. This choice may seem small, but it reflects an understanding of karma. By responding with kindness, you create positive ripples that uplift not only your own mood, but also the mood of those around you. Each time we face a challenging situation, we have the opportunity to choose our response. This sense of personal responsibility is essential for building inner resilience. It's easy to blame others for our feelings or circumstances, but true growth comes when we acknowledge that we have the power to shape our experiences through our responses. For example, if someone criticizes you, instead of feeling hurt or defensive, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Is this criticism valid? This shift in perspective empowers you to turn a potentially negative encounter into an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. Buddhist teachings encourage us to care for others with compassion while also protecting our own energy. This approach is often referred to as compassionate detachment. By setting healthy boundaries, we can offer support without getting entangled in others' struggles. This doesn't mean that we care any less. It simply means that we recognize the importance of maintaining our own well-being. Think of compassion as holding a beautiful flower. You can appreciate its beauty, even care for it, without letting it consume your thoughts or energy. Similarly, when we practice compassionate detachment, we can be a source of support without becoming overwhelmed by others' problems. To cultivate this mindset, start by setting boundaries. For example, if a friend frequently seeks your advice but never acts on it, consider stepping back and allowing them the space to find their own path. You can still offer your support from a distance, cheering them on while maintaining your inner peace. Ultimately, the greatest power you can attain is inner peace. When your mind is calm and grounded, no one can take away your peace. You'll begin to realize that true happiness doesn't come from external achievements or possessions, but from within. Imagine your mind as a still lake. When the wind blows, the surface may ripple, but deep below, the water remains undisturbed. Similarly, when you cultivate inner peace, you can remain steady and calm no matter what happens around you. This doesn't mean you won't feel emotions or face challenges. It simply means that you have the strength to respond with clarity and resilience. Inner peace is often described as the middle path in Buddhism, a balance between extremes. Instead of swinging from joy to sorrow or hope to despair, inner peace allows you to find a steady center within yourself, unaffected by the fluctuations of life. One practical way to cultivate inner peace is through mindfulness and meditation. Set aside a few minutes each day to practice deep breathing, focusing on the present moment. As you become more skilled in mindfulness, you'll find that you can carry this calm with you, responding to life's challenges with a sense of inner stability. Let's say you're at work, and someone criticizes your efforts. Your initial reaction might be to feel hurt or defensive. However, by tapping into your inner calm, you can choose not to let their words affect you. Instead, you acknowledge their opinion without letting it disrupt your peace of mind. Through these principles, mindfulness, non-attachment, compassionate detachment, and personal responsibility, Buddhism offers a profound path toward reclaiming our inner power. In a world full of external pressures and distractions, these teachings remind us that our greatest strength lies within. Don't let others control your emotions. Hold on to your peace, for it is the most precious asset that no one can take from you.